Have you ever wondered why, after stepping back and giving space, someone comes back into your life? It's not magic, it's a reflection of your energy, your confidence, and the power of self-respect. When you embrace the no contact period, you're not just waiting, you're growing, you're becoming stronger, more magnetic, and more aligned with your true self. When it comes to relationships, especially when a man returns after a period of no contact, one of the most powerful and transformative factors at play is your ability to reclaim your personal power and confidence. This is not just a superficial change, it's a deep internal shift that radiates outward and influences everything about the way you move, speak, and exist in the world. Confidence, true confidence, is magnetic. It doesn't require validation from anyone else, and it doesn't beg for attention. It simply is. When you step into this space of self-assuredness, you create a presence that draws others to you naturally, almost effortlessly. The concept of reclaiming your power starts with recognizing your intrinsic worth. Often in relationship, people, especially women, can lose themselves in the dynamic of giving, pleasing, and anticipating the needs of the other person. This can create a subtle dependency where your emotional state becomes tied to someone else's behavior or attention. No contact is a radical yet essential tool because it forces a separation from that cycle. By stepping back, you are not only giving the other person space, but more importantly, giving yourself the opportunity to reconnect with who you truly are. You rediscover your passions, your interests, and the aspects of life that fulfill you independently. During this period, the focus shifts inward. You begin to examine your habits, your goals, and the things that bring you joy and satisfaction without relying on external approval. This is where confidence begins to solidify. Confidence is not about arrogance or superiority. It is about knowing your value and being comfortable in your own skin. It is about understanding that your happiness does not depend on someone else's attention or affection. When you embody this level of self-awareness, you naturally project an energy that is alluring. People are drawn to those who are complete within themselves, not because they are looking for completion elsewhere. Reclaiming your power also involves setting boundaries and holding firm to them. One of the reasons people are drawn back during periods of no contact is that they sense the change in your behavior. You are no longer available to be taken for granted. You no longer tolerate disrespect or emotional unavailability. By honoring your own needs and refusing to compromise your self-respect, you cultivate an aura of dignity and strength. Men, in particular, are often unconsciously attuned to this energy. They recognize the difference between someone who is chasing and someone who is confidently living their own life. When they see that you are thriving without them, it triggers reflection and curiosity. They begin to wonder what changed, why you seem so radiant and composed, and why you are no longer chasing. Another aspect of reclaiming power is emotional independence. Emotional independence does not mean being cold or detached. It means having control over your emotions and responses rather than allowing someone else's behavior to dictate how you feel. During no contact, you practice this on a daily basis. You learn to self-soothe, to process your feelings internally, and to find stability within yourself. This is transformative because when someone senses that you are emotionally grounded, it creates a sense of respect and admiration. It signals that you are capable of handling life with maturity and grace, which is an incredibly attractive quality. Emotional independence is the opposite of neediness. Neediness often pushes people away, whereas emotional stability draws them closer. Personal growth is an integral part of reclaiming your power. When you use the no contact period to invest in yourself, whether through education, hobbies, fitness, spirituality, or creative pursuits, you are actively enhancing your energy and expanding your world. Growth is inherently magnetic because it communicates that you are evolving and improving, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Men and people in general are naturally attracted to those who are progressing in life, who are striving for better versions of themselves, and who are capable of inspiring others through their journey. Your growth becomes a living testament to your resilience and strength, signaling that you are someone worth returning to, someone whose presence adds value to their life. Confidence also manifests through body language, communication, and presence. When you reclaim your power, you naturally carry yourself differently. You walk taller, speak with clarity and intention, and make eye contact that conveys certainty. These subtle cues send powerful messages to anyone observing you. Confidence is not something that can be faked indefinitely. It grows organically from the work you put into your self-discovery and self-care. The more you align with your authentic self, the more effortlessly you radiate a magnetic presence. This is one of the reasons why no contact periods are so effective, because the shift is internal first, and it inevitably translates externally in ways that are compelling to others. It's also important to recognize that reclaiming your power is a mindset as much as it is a set of actions. It's about rejecting the narrative that your worth is contingent upon someone else's attention or love. It's about internalizing the truth that you are enough on your own, that your happiness is your responsibility, and that your energy is valuable. This mindset shift can be subtle at first, but over time, it becomes the foundation of your confidence. When you carry yourself with this awareness, it changes how people perceive you. They see someone who is not easily swayed, someone who has a life full of purpose and meaning, and someone whose presence is a gift rather than a need. Reclaiming your power also teaches patience and self-restraint. Often, the instinct during a no-contact period is to reach out, to explain, or to attempt to win someone back. But true power lies in restraint, the ability to step back, to focus on yourself, and to trust that life will bring the right outcomes without forcing them. This patience reinforces your confidence because it shows that you do not act from desperation. Instead, you act from alignment with your values and your self-respect. The act of letting go, even temporarily, communicates to the other person that you are not defined by their presence or absence, which paradoxically makes you more attractive and magnetic. Finally, reclaiming your power is about celebrating your independence. Independence is liberating. It is the acknowledgement that you are capable of creating joy, stability, and fulfillment on your own. When you celebrate your independence, you exude a sense of freedom that others are drawn to. It is the kind of energy that signals strength without aggression, confidence without arrogance, and self-love without ego. Men return to women who embody this independence because it represents a completeness they may have failed to see before. It's not about them needing you. It's about them recognizing the powerful presence of someone who knows their own worth and refuses to settle for anything less than respect and alignment. In essence, reclaiming your power and confidence is about transformation from the inside out. It is about reconnecting with yourself, honoring your value, nurturing your emotional independence, investing in personal growth, and embodying a life full of vibrancy and purpose. When you do this, the shift is undeniable. You no longer operate from fear, need, or insecurity. You operate from strength, self-assuredness, and authenticity. This transformation is what draws others back. It is the energy of someone who has reclaimed their life, their joy, and their worth, and who no longer waits for validation, but instead radiates it naturally. The no-contact period is not simply a tool to make someone miss you. It is a sacred opportunity to reclaim the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. Absence has a unique kind of power in human relationships, one that is often underestimated or misunderstood. When a period of no contact is applied in the context of relationships, it creates a space, not of emptiness, but of reflection. This reflection is a process that is just as transformative, if not more so, than any direct interaction or conversation. It is a period where clarity emerges, where emotions and thoughts settle, and where people begin to truly see what they may have taken for granted. When a man returns after a period of no contact, it is often because absence has given him the opportunity to reflect not only on you, but on himself, his choices, and the dynamics of the relationship. Reflection begins with the recognition of loss. Absence allows the mind to step back from the immediacy of daily interactions and to consider what was once present. When someone is constantly around, their presence can sometimes be normalized, taken for granted, or undervalued. Daily routines, constant communication, and easy availability can dull the appreciation for the unique qualities and contributions that a person brings to a relationship. When you step away and create a space of absence, it disrupts this pattern. Suddenly, the familiarity that had been assumed is no longer accessible, and it triggers awareness. The other person starts to notice the subtle ways in which your energy, your presence, and your influence were woven into their life. They begin to remember the moments of connection, the laughter, the support, and the feeling of being understood, all of which can create a sense of longing and introspection. During absence, the mind naturally turns inward. It begins to question, evaluate, and even reframe past experiences. This is where reflection becomes transformative. A man who may have once overlooked certain qualities in you now has the space to see them with fresh eyes. He starts to recognize the depth of your personality, the warmth of your compassion, the strength of your character, and the lightness of your joy. Absence strips away distractions and forces a kind of mental and emotional audit. He begins to see not only what he misses, but also the ways in which he may have contributed to distance, miscommunication, or neglect. This period of reflection fosters self-awareness, which is a critical component in the process of returning. Absence also stimulates emotional clarity. Often emotions in relationships can become muddled by proximity. In the midst of constant interaction, feelings of frustration, irritation, or misunderstanding can overshadow the affection, respect, and love that exist. When distance is introduced, emotions have the room to settle. The intensity of immediate reactions fades, and what remains is a clearer sense of what is truly meaningful. He begins to separate superficial annoyances from genuine affection, distinguishing temporary dissatisfaction from deep appreciation. This emotional clarity allows him to recognize the value of your presence not as a convenience, but as a source of connection and fulfillment. Reflection is further amplified when absence creates space for curiosity. When you step back, the natural human instinct is to wonder why. Why are you not reaching out? Why is there this gap? Why does life feel different without you? Curiosity sparks observation and introspection. He starts to pay attention to the qualities he may have overlooked, to the little things that made interactions with you special, and to the comfort and stability your presence provided. This curiosity can lead to a renewed appreciation, not just for who you are, but for the way you fit into his life and the ways in which you enhance it. Absence allows for the mind to wander, to imagine, and to long for the experiences that once felt ordinary but now feel extraordinary. One of the most powerful aspects of reflection is that it often leads to personal growth. During periods of no contact, a man may confront his own habits, patterns, and emotional responses. He may question the choices he made, the words he used, and the ways in which he expressed or failed to express his appreciation. Reflection can reveal areas for self-improvement, encouraging accountability and maturity. When he returns, it is often with a greater understanding of what went wrong and what could be different moving forward. The absence period does not just create longing, it creates insight, which is a foundation for healthier interactions and a deeper connection. Reflection also highlights contrast, which is crucial in understanding value. When something or someone is absent, the contrast between presence and absence becomes stark. During the no contact period, he is able to observe life without your influence, without your support, and without the energy you bring into his daily experience. This contrast naturally illuminates your significance. People rarely fully appreciate what they have until they experience what life feels like without it. The absence allows him to see clearly the difference between a life with you and a life without you, and that realization often sparks a desire to reconnect. Another subtle but powerful element of reflection is the opportunity to process gratitude. In the business of everyday life, gratitude for the people around us can be overlooked. Absence acts as a mirror, reflecting not only what is missing, but also what was received and appreciated, even if unconsciously. As he reflects, he may begin to recognize the sacrifices, efforts, and loving gestures you made that went unnoticed in the moment. This awakening of gratitude can transform feelings of indifference or casual attachment into recognition and admiration. He comes to understand not just that he misses you, but that your presence added a richness to life that cannot be replicated or replaced. Reflection is not solely about longing, it is about perspective. When distance is introduced, it removes the immediate emotional reactions that can cloud judgment. He is able to see patterns, dynamics, and truths that were previously obscured by routine, assumptions, or ego. This broader perspective allows for clearer decision-making and more conscious emotional responses. In many cases, absence forces an evaluation of priorities, helping him understand whether he truly values the connection and the person he has temporarily lost touch with. It is also important to recognize that reflection during absence is amplified by the passage of time. Time acts as a clarifying lens, softening the sharp edges of conflict and frustration while preserving the meaningful and positive aspects of the relationship. As the days and weeks pass, emotions settle, memories resurface, and the significance of the connection becomes more apparent. Time combined with absence allows for a deep, introspective understanding that is rarely achieved in the heat of constant interaction. It creates the psychological space for him to confront his feelings honestly and to decide whether he wants to return and engage in a more thoughtful, intentional manner. Reflection also fosters emotional longing, which is distinct from mere habit or routine. When absence is paired with introspection, he begins to miss not just your presence, but the way you made him feel seen, understood, supported, and inspired. Emotional longing is powerful because it is tied to experience and feeling rather than superficial desire. This kind of longing can awaken motivation and intention, encouraging him to return not out of convenience, but out of a genuine desire to reconnect and nurture what he now truly values. The process of reflection is subtle, cumulative, and deeply personal. It cannot be forced or rushed. It occurs naturally when space is given. By practicing no contact, you allow this process to unfold organically. The absence is not punishment or manipulation. It is a strategic and respectful way to create the conditions for insight, clarity, and understanding. You give him the gift of perspective while simultaneously cultivating your own growth, self-respect, and independence. Ultimately, absence creates reflection because it interrupts the ordinary patterns of attention, communication, and expectation. It forces evaluation, stirs curiosity, sparks emotional clarity, encourages gratitude, illuminates contrast, and fosters personal growth. When a man returns after this period, it is often because he has undergone a quiet transformation of thought and feeling. He has had the chance to recognize your value, to understand what he may have overlooked, and to confront his own role in the dynamics of the relationship. Absence gives him the mental and emotional space to see what you bring to his life in a way that constant presence could not. In essence, absence is not emptiness. It is a reflective mirror that allows people to see, evaluate, and ultimately appreciate what they once overlooked. It is the fertile ground in which recognition, longing, and insight can grow. The return is rarely a matter of chance. It is the natural consequence of reflection. By stepping back and creating this space, you invite clarity and self-awareness, both in yourself and in the other person. You create the conditions for a reconnection that is not based on habit or convenience, but on genuine recognition and understanding. Absence, therefore, is one of the most powerful tools for transformation in relationships because it gives both parties the opportunity to reflect, to grow, and to return with intention and appreciation. Independence and emotional stability are two of the most magnetic qualities a person can possess in a relationship. When a man returns after a period of no contact, it is often because he senses a profound shift in your energy, the energy of someone who is no longer dependent on him for validation, affection, or happiness, but instead stands firmly grounded in their own life and emotional well-being. Radiating independence and emotional stability is not about being distant, cold, or detached. It is about embodying a presence that is self-sufficient, secure, and centered. This is a level of confidence that cannot be ignored, and it naturally draws people back, not out of fear or obligation, but because they are drawn to your grounded strength. Independence begins with the understanding that your life, your joy, and your fulfillment are your responsibility alone. This does not mean that love or companionship is unimportant. Rather, it means that you do not rely on anyone else to provide what only you can give yourself. When you embrace this mindset, you shift from a place of neediness or dependency into a space of freedom and self-reliance. This freedom is inherently attractive because it signals that you are whole, complete, and not searching for someone to fix or complete you. A man senses this energy immediately. He recognizes that you are someone who has cultivated a rich, meaningful life, and that your presence in his life is a choice rather than a necessity. This subtle difference is powerful because it speaks to the unconscious desire for mutual respect, admiration, and equality in relationships. Emotional stability is closely intertwined with independence. Emotional stability is the ability to maintain composure, clarity, and balance regardless of external circumstances. It means that your moods, reactions, and decisions are not dictated by the whims of another person. During periods of no contact, emotional stability is cultivated naturally, without the constant stimulation, pressure, or emotional ups and downs that often accompany active communication. You develop the capacity to process your feelings, regulate your responses, and center yourself in a calm and measured way. This stability is magnetic because it conveys security, maturity, and reliability. A man is instinctively drawn to someone who does not overact, chase, or create unnecessary drama because this energy is safe, trustworthy, and deeply appealing. Radiating independence and emotional stability also involves creating a life that is rich, fulfilling, and vibrant without relying on a partner for its validation. This can manifest in various ways: pursuing personal goals, cultivating hobbies and passions, strengthening friendships, or investing in career and self-growth. The key is that your happiness and satisfaction do not hinge on anyone else. When a man sees this, he senses the authenticity and vitality of your energy. He sees that your presence in his life is not about filling a void, but about enhancing an already full and meaningful existence. This naturally fosters respect and admiration, qualities that are often absent in dynamics dominated by neediness or dependency. Another aspect of radiating independence is the confidence to make choices for yourself, even if they may not align with someone else's expectations. It is the willingness to set boundaries, to say no when necessary, and to prioritize your well-being over temporary appeasement. When you do this, you communicate an unspoken message that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable. This clarity in self-prioritization creates a magnetic pull because it distinguishes you from those who are easily swayed or dependent on external approval. Independence is not about isolation, it is about self-respect, and people are naturally drawn to those who respect themselves. Emotional stability further enhances this attraction because it allows you to navigate challenges, conflicts, and uncertainties with grace. When a man perceives that you are emotionally balanced, he feels a sense of trust and safety. He realizes that engaging with you does not involve unnecessary drama or volatility, and that your reactions are thoughtful, measured, and authentic. This emotional equilibrium is rare and deeply appealing because it demonstrates maturity, resilience, and a strong sense of self. Men often return to women who embody this stability because it signals that the relationship can be a source of mutual growth and support rather than stress or chaos. Radiating independence and emotional stability also involves mastering the art of detachment without losing warmth or empathy. Detachment in this context is not about being cold or indifferent. It is about maintaining your center and your sense of self regardless of the actions or presence of others. You are capable of giving love, care, and attention without becoming entangled in insecurity, jealousy, or neediness. This balance is incredibly attractive because it demonstrates that your emotional well-being is self-contained and not contingent upon another person's behavior. A man returning after no contact often senses this energy, recognizing that your strength and composure are qualities that cannot be replicated or replaced. Independence and emotional stability are also cultivated through self-awareness and intentionality. You become attuned to your own emotions, needs, and desires, and you act in alignment with your values rather than reacting impulsively to external pressures. This intentionality allows you to engage in relationships from a place of authenticity rather than necessity. Men are drawn to this energy because it creates a dynamic of mutual respect and genuine connection. When you are intentional and self-aware, you communicate that your presence is valuable, not because it is demanded, but because it is freely and consciously offered. Part of radiating this energy is embracing patience and trust in the process. Independence allows you to step back without panic, desperation, or attempts to control outcomes. Emotional stability allows you to remain calm, composed, and confident that life and relationships unfold in alignment with timing, effort, and intention. Men notice this equilibrium. They sense that you are not acting from fear or neediness, but from a place of inner strength and clarity. This kind of energy is not just attractive, it is transformative. It invites respect, admiration, and often a desire to reconnect because it signals that the relationship can be mutually enriching rather than one-sided or dependent. Another subtle but significant aspect of this dynamic is the empowerment of choice. Independence and emotional stability convey that you are a person of choice rather than circumstance. You are choosing to be present, to engage, and to connect based on alignment and resonance, not necessity. This sense of agency is magnetic because it flips the dynamic. Instead of being someone who chases or seeks approval, you are someone whose presence is voluntarily offered and whose absence is respected. Men are drawn back to this energy because it challenges them to recognize their own value, accountability, and intentions in a way that they might not have considered before. Radiating independence and emotional stability also fosters authenticity in interactions. When you are grounded in your own life and emotions, you no longer feel compelled to perform, manipulate, or overcompensate to gain attention or affection. Instead, your interactions are genuine, fluid, and naturally aligned with your energy. Authenticity is inherently attractive because it signals truth, integrity, and reliability. A man returning after no contact senses this authenticity and is drawn to it because it represents a relationship dynamic that is honest, respectful, and fulfilling. It is important to recognize that independence and emotional stability do not isolate you from love or connection. They enhance it. When you are self-sufficient and emotionally grounded, your relationships operate from a place of choice, intention, and mutual enrichment. Your energy communicates that connection is a complement to your already vibrant life, not a necessity to complete it. Men often return to women who embody this because it reflects a maturity and balance they may have lacked or failed to recognize previously. Your energy becomes a mirror for what a healthy, aligned relationship can feel like, creating a natural pull for those who appreciate and value that dynamic. Ultimately, radiating independence and emotional stability is about living in alignment with your highest self. It is about cultivating a life that is abundant, purposeful, and fulfilling on your terms while maintaining a centered emotional state. It is about demonstrating that your happiness is self-generated and that your energy is rooted in confidence, not dependence. This energy cannot be manufactured superficially. It must be cultivated through self-reflection, personal growth, intentionality, and consistent practice. When done authentically, it has an undeniable magnetic effect, encouraging men to return not out of fear, obligation, or manipulation, but out of genuine recognition of your strength, value, and emotional richness. In essence, independence and emotional stability are about reclaiming yourself as the central force in your life while maintaining warmth, empathy, and authenticity in your interactions. This combination creates a powerful magnetic presence that naturally draws others back, particularly men who recognize the value of a confident, grounded, and self-sufficient partner. When you embody these qualities, you are no longer reacting to the presence or absence of others. You are living fully, purposefully, and aligned with your own energy. The return of a man after no contact is often a reflection of this magnetic energy. The recognition that he is encountering a woman who is not only complete and self-assured, but also capable of creating a fulfilling, balanced, and emotionally rich connection. In the journey of relationships, understanding why men return after no contact is not about manipulation or games. It is about transformation, presence, and self-mastery. When you reclaim your power and confidence, you step into a version of yourself that radiates strength and authenticity, showing that your worth is inherent and not dependent on anyone else. When absence allows reflection, it creates space for clarity, appreciation, and longing, giving the other person the opportunity to truly see the value of your presence. And when you radiate independence and emotional stability, you embody a life that is full, balanced, and magnetic, inviting respect, admiration, and genuine connection. The common thread across these truths is the same. The most powerful relationships are born not from need, but from alignment, self-respect, and inner fulfillment. By focusing on your own growth, embracing your worth, and maintaining your composure, you become a presence that cannot be ignored, a person who naturally draws others back because they recognize the strength, depth, and completeness within you. Ultimately, no contact is not an absence of love. It is a presence of power. It is the moment where you cultivate yourself, embody your highest self, and allow life to mirror back the energy you hold. Men return not because they are forced, but because they are drawn to someone who knows themselves, values themselves, and radiates a life worth returning to. The lesson is clear: your power, your reflection, and your independence are your greatest assets. Own them, embrace them, and watch as the universe responds, bringing the right people and connections into your life naturally and meaningfully.